internet friends, I'm Ryan. This is Demos in the Dark. Sit back, relax. We're going to check out the new Parallel from Silktone amps. Now, one thing I want to get out of the way ahead of time before we get into this is that this is a high-end gear demo channel, and this is a high-end amplifier, and it is not cheap. So typically I'll get some kind of comment like my PV Classic 30 can do that. And you know what? While the PV Classic 30 is a great amplifier, mechanically, engineering-wise, it cannot do what this amp does. Why? Because this amp is a 25-watt single-ended Class A amplifier. Now, there are a ton of things to take into consideration when building a 25-watt Class A amplifier, and those things make it extra expensive. The transformer needs to be huge because Class A is noisier than push-pull. With a combo amp like this pushing that kind of volume, you're gonna get some tube rattle. So Charles even did something like building a subplate for the tube so that they're not actually even touching the chassis. In a lot of ways, this amplifier is similar to the Silktone amp, which is one that I have used daily for several years now. But because of the wattage, it has significantly more headroom. It is louder. It is significantly louder. He's also added a couple of different modes on here that are new. Silktone also opted to go with a pine cabinet on this, which is gonna be hard to pick up on a YouTube video, but you feel it in the room, you can hear it. It certainly makes it more resonant. It also makes it lighter. We have the amazing reverb that Silktone does, and you know, it's one of my favorite amp reverbs out there. We have the attenuation going from 25 to 1 watt using a reactive load. As I touched on earlier, we have custom Sour Sounds transformers in here. This thing is built with every detail possible in mind. So let's grab some sounds out of it. I'm gonna start with single coils. I have a Scythe Guitars OH19 here. Oh, and by the way, when I try out gear at a music store, like I don't come in with a battery of licks and riffs. I find endless soloing to be a distraction. I play really, really simple stuff so that I can listen to what the gear is doing. And that's what we're gonna do here tonight. So we're in the Chiffon mode, which utilizes the EQ here. And we have everything pretty well tuned out. I'm in mode 1, which is kind of the standard mode. Sounds really incredible. We can scoop out those mids a little bit and give us more of a Fendery vibe. We can punch up those mids a little bit, get something a little more raunchy. midsection here, let's talk about the modes. So mode 1 has a ton of negative feedback, which gives you a very, very clean, pristine sound. Mode 2 kills the negative feedback, which is going to give you a lot more harmonic texture. It's basically like mode 1, but far more gritty. So let's flip that over. And we can still pull that mid back and get really, really nice sounds. Silktone amp consists of two different EQ modes. The Chiffon mode, which is what we've been in here, utilizes the EQ circuit, and it's a really wide-ranging EQ circuit. What he's added is a bright EQ mode, which is like the Chiffon mode, but just with a bit more sparkle and chime. Now, I really like the bright mode when you are in mode 2 here. Like, that gets you into AC30 vibes right there. See if we kick out those mids even more. Could really get into AC30 vibes. Bring those mids back. The third EQ mode is the raw silk mode, and this is also on the Silktone amp. What it does is it bypasses the EQ circuit. So I have the EQ, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want, it's bypassed. And when you bypass the EQ circuit, it actually gives the amp a ton more oomph. And adding the negative feedback mode here really, really changes what you can do with the raw silk mode, which was already pretty darn incredible. So we'll start in mode 1 and then we'll switch it over to mode 2. myself a Grez Guitarist Mendocino here so we can get some humbucker sounds while we check out this reverb. We're back in the Chiffon mode, mode 1. Put it into mode 2. So the reverb, you have a dwell and a mix. The dwell is basically the amount of reverb, or like how long the reverb is, and the mix is the blend of that with your dry signal. So we got it going right here. Bring that dwell up. We got to check out that attenuator. So we've been running at 25 watts. Sounds like this. And then here we are at 1 watt. I'm at home and trying out pedals for the first time before I demo them, I'm usually running my Silktone amp at a 1/2 watt. I'm running it attenuated because it pretty much sounds identical, and then I'm not blowing my ears out. Then I pop it back up for when I go film. One of the big concerns is whether an amp is a good pedal platform. I think the Silktone amp is a great pedal platform. I use it on every pedal demo almost. But this is even better. At 25 watts, you have even more headroom. So I have plugged into a Boss RV500 here just to give you a quick sample. It is a great pedal platform. You got tons and tons of headroom. You could hear all of that modulation with the reverb on there. And it's really, really great sound. Just all around, this is a really, really, really great amplifier. And it's an investment. Because one of the things that you lose when you go push-pull is some of that character, some of that Class A character, that Class A sound. And if you're someone whose ears really hear that and that really bugs you and you really want that Class A amp sound at higher volumes and more headroom, this is the way to go. So thanks, Charles, for sending this thing over for me to check out. And as always, thank you for the privilege of your time.